Welcome back to the Base Indonesian show, where we write open letters to the president in hopes that they will notice us and take our suggestions. In today's episode, I'm going to be writing an open letter to the president of Indonesia, Joko Widodo. I've always wanted to make this episode, but I was looking for the right moment to do it. I've wanted to do it, but I don't think the times were supportive back then. But now, I think the conditions are acceptable for me to address my open letter to you, Mr. President, with all the allegations about how you want to start a political dynasty, which you already have, increasing repressive rules and policies, and undemocratic government practices at the side of having one of the highest popularity rates of any other presidents we had. I just don't see why you don't reorganize the Republic of Indonesia to the Empire of Indonesia. Take notes from Senator Palpatine, who realized the Republic is actually repressive as He has the majority of the Senate under his control, and he enjoys high approval ratings. Now, you'd think this is an absurd proposition, and some of my viewers would think this is absolutely bonkers, but I'm dead serious. So hear me out. I'd see this as a major W. Like Senator Palpatine, you also have three prerequisites. You see, I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that Indonesia is an empire in all but name. According to Wikipedia, an empire is a political unit made up of several territories and peoples, usually created by conquest and divided between a dominant center and subordinate peripheries. Indonesia is a political unit made up of several territories, as we can see, and also peoples. Some are taken by conquest, others quote-unquote voluntarily joined after we've suppressed their calls for independence violently, and are divided between a strong centralized government and subordinate peripheries representing that same government. In other words, Indonesia is an empire. Your party and the party that supports you are in full control of the government without any sort of meaningful opposition, who's more of a fart than an actual resistance. And everybody loves you no matter what you do. You can melt some random Kamisan protester to the hot pavement like Homelander in broad daylight, and people will still vote for you. You already wield power befitting of an emperor. Indonesia is a unitary presidential constitutional republic, which means that the president is vested with the ultimate authority to execute and command a strong centralized state under the vestiges of the Constitution. Speaking about the Constitution, you wouldn't have to worry about that pesky piece of old paper. The Constitution is a human construct. And because you are virtually creating a new state above the old one, you could just scribble your own constitution with you as emperor and your family as your royal family. You'd be Emperor Joko Widodo I, who wouldn't have to run for a third term or have your son run for vice president to retain your power. And to complete the accessories of your power, the army, the police, and some parts of the judiciary would only answer to you. So you are the judge, jury, and executioner. Now let's take a look at our legislation. Our legislation is composed of political parties led by altruistic elites and their families that exist to serve the people. These people are our nobility, and they are called nobles because their entire existence is to be of noble to people. How about we cut the middleman by replacing the parties with families outright? I'm sure nothing will change, and if that happens, legislatures are already representing the interests of the families anyways. But obviously, you need someone to run your day-to-day government. Study other monarchies in the world, choose whichever, and then select a prime minister to lead your country. Appointing a prime minister does away the pesky problems of elections. You wouldn't need to spend trillions of rupiahs or stress about political maneuvers when you can point your finger at Luhut or Prabowo. They basically have your powers without having your position. This way, you can have your most favorite subject lead the country while you laze off and raise your grandkid or pick your guitar, free from any worry of losing your office. And when you do grow old and don't want to leave your legacy behind, don't worry. Your son Gibran is the crown prince and heir presumptive to the Empire of Indonesia. He'll be the next emperor, and you won't have to fuss about people not working on the shiny new capital you've built in the middle of a jungle surrounded by slums. Your legacy projects are all safe. People pay taxes to you because you're the emperor, just like the Queen of England, and you can use that money to build new highways and shit like you usually do as your hobby. You wouldn't have to owe money to anyone if everyone paid taxes to you. Best yet, you can threaten people with death if they refuse to work on your new SimCity project. You can build as many cities as you like, and nobody can do anything about it because you are the Emperor of Indonesia. Best of all, because your word is law, everybody who criticizes you could haul off to jail or death because you're the emperor and nobody gets to insult you. And now if you're president and you want to do that, people will question your decision and you could get impeached. But who's going to impeach the emperor? And when Indonesia becomes a formal empire, we can give ourselves the excuse of unifying Malaysia and Philippines. Mafalindo, hello Nusantara Empire. And combined, the Nusantara Empire under you would be the largest archipelagic country in the world. We would have over 26,000 islands inside our territory, and we will become the 10th biggest country in the world. We would practically be the largest Muslim majority country in the world, and also the largest Christian population in Asia. We will have 420 million citizens, beating the United States and becoming the world's third largest country in terms of population. Our military will be the 5th biggest in the world and 8th strongest, with power projection capabilities as we control the naval axis between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Our GDP would be 2 million a year with potential of increase. We would rival the likes of Brazil and Russia in terms of GDP. We will have the 8th highest GDP in the world. And that is before you take over Singapore. Now imagine that. You will become a legendary figure, Mr. President. You'd be Emperor Jokowi the First, the unificator. Sounds cool, huh? I don't see any reason why you shouldn't pull it off. Indonesia isn't meant to be a democracy anyways. Our country's democracy index is plummeting. We have a up criminal code. We have a up judiciary too. You can handpick governors. We go to jail if we talk shit about you, your family, and your employees. And your critics are slowly going somewhere we don't know. Plus, our society is very undemocratic too. Indonesian netizens are known to be rude and not open to discussion. If the people are undemocratic, why do we need to live in a democratic system? Let's be an authoritarian and empower the state to do whatever they want in the name of public good. So wait no more, Mr. President. Indonesia doesn't need democracy. It deserves to be in an authoritarian country like your buddy China. We don't care about freedom of expression and opinion. We care about money and work. We don't care about the environment. We care about the output and more output. Indonesia should stop looking towards America and start looking at China because our future is with you. And we cannot imagine a future without you, Your Majesty. Your throne awaits. And the question is, are you bold enough to declare yourself emperor and go down a legend? Or are you just going to stop there when you are so close to absolute power? Again, learn from Palpatine. He knows best how to turn a democracy into a dictatorship. So wait no more and turn this Republic of Indonesia into the Empire of Indonesia.
Subscribe to the Based Indonesian Show. Dijamin halal